Hey there, just painting a painting. Want to chat with me? Hey guys, I wanted to do something a lot different than I normally do. Kind of just wanted to chat a little bit. I want to do a quick background before I even get into this because you guys are probably like, what is she doing? So before I started YouTube, I was in college for fine art. I graduated with a BFA in painting from the University of Delaware, and before that even, I was doing graphic design, interactive media at the Art Institute in Philadelphia. And the reason why I went into painting as opposed to doing the interactive media and the graphic design is because it allowed me to graduate earlier. That's the honest truth. It wasn't from a passion of painting. I had never really even painted before. I did a lot of mixed media. I do a lot of drawing, a lot of sketching. I do a lot of I work with a lot of dry media. So for me to go into painting and get a degree in painting, I think was very interesting. It was definitely a challenge. I went through a lot of struggles, a lot of criticism, a lot of what the f is going on here from some of my colleagues, my classmates, my professors. I had to do it to graduate. I was broke. I didn't have enough money to continue college. I took a lot of breaks. I did a lot of transfers so I could save up money, so I could pay off old schools, so I could do all these other, some of the transfers never, my credits didn't transfer and all these other things. So I was like, okay, painting, that is going to help me graduate the fastest that I can so I can move on to the next chapter of my life. I can't be in college for 6 years, 7 years. This is fucking ridiculous. So I did painting and I actually quite enjoyed it. I liked the therapeutic sort of meditative process of painting. So I wanted to paint with you guys and talk to you guys and chat about life, chat about things. This morning I had a thought in my head. I did the calculations. I've been single for 5 years. Actually, okay, you know what, before we get into that, I want to start painting, and I also want to show you guys what it is that I am going for. So I'm gonna do a diptych. Diptych meaning 2 paintings in one. My diptych is going to have this sort of format. So I'm working with 2 20 by 30s, essentially. I already started a extremely rough sketch. When I say extremely rough, it took me about 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I had a little bit of color. I'm not even gonna go with this color, but this is the idea. So we have one of the canvases here, and then this will be the other canvas there. I wanna work with a lot of loose, kind of circular scribbling. I don't want any of the forms to be completely solid. As for this yellow, blue, what is this? Multicolor situation here. I probably am not going to work with these colors. I think I just wanted to kind of get an idea and I hated it. So for the background, that's the base, and I, let's see, it's gonna be really hard. I am stuck between a blue base or a red base here, and here I think I'm just gonna go with the flow. I think when I go with the flow, I get the best ideas. It just kind of comes to me. I'm gonna start actually with this bottom one here because it's the one I know the most about. And so I am gonna do a base background of, what did I just say? Did I say red? I guess red, yeah, let's go with the red. We're gonna do this bottom one here, red. So I'm working with oil paints. Oil paints take a while to dry and to work in layers. And so I have to take a little bit of time in between to make sure that one layer is dry before I start adding and adding and adding. But I'm gonna start with my base, and I wanna do kind of a light wash of a red. So I'm gonna go in with this. So I'm gonna go in with this large brush. This is a Filbert number 8. It's It's a really flat, large brush, as you can see, and it's gonna help me to really fill space on the canvas. As for the red, I'm gonna be working with this Cadmium Red Deep Hue, and it's a really rich red, very striking. I like that. I want to go for a bit of drama. So I'm going to add the red directly to my palette. I have some old red right here, so from a different painting, so I'm going to leave that there. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Liquin Light Gel, and this really helps to emulsify the paint and to make it a lot thinner, so that way I can really spread it without having to add too much paint. It also helps this bottom layer to dry a lot faster than just glopping on a large amount of paint. So I'm just taking a little bit of this Liquin. And I'm also gonna put that right next to the red on the palette. And then with a palette knife, I'm just gonna start mixing all of that in. So yeah, while I'm mixing, I'll start talking. So yeah, I had this thought and I was like, wow, I've been single for 5 years. I've been single the whole time that I've been living in LA, which is 3 years. And 2 years prior to me living in LA, which I think is so astonishing because I've always just seen myself as the relationship girl. I'm just gonna start kind of putting this down. Nothing really serious right now at the moment. Just gonna help me to start spreading it out. But yeah, I have been single and I've always been the relationship girl. I've like kind of jumped in and out of relationships because they make me feel comfortable. I like the idea of having someone to bounce ideas off of. I like having someone to talk about good things, the bad things, share things with, you know? I mean, any reason why anyone would want a relationship, you know? So for me to realize that 5 years has gone by where it's just been me, myself, and I, and a few other randos that I spend a little bit of time with. I've been single and I don't know how that makes me feel. It makes me a little sad because I don't like being alone. And it's not that I'm lonely. I'm not lonely. I have plenty of people to talk to, plenty of friends, family, that kind of thing. I'm never like, I don't want anyone to talk to. I have tons of people to talk to. I have too many people to talk to the point where I turn my phone off sometimes because I can't concentrate because I'm getting messages. But so that's just only to say that I'm not lonely, but I've been learning to live alone. And a lot of that has really shaped me into being who I currently am now at 27 years old. I want to, emulsify, I just want to get a little bit. This is turpentine, it's distilled turpentine. It's really great for really thinning everything down or cleaning your brushes in between colors. So yeah, it's basically just a thinner, a paint thinner. So I'm taking some of this turpentine. I'm just gonna get a glass jar with a lid so I can close it in between painting sessions. And I'm just gonna put the turpentine inside this jar. And this is gonna help me to really kind of moisten my brush, to help me really water this down so that way I can spread it across the canvas real nice and thin. So yeah, in the 5 years that I've been single, you know, and alone, I really learned a lot about myself. I've learned about all the things I do like, all the things I accept, all the things I won't accept. You know, I have so much more appreciation for myself. I don't take anything or anyone for granted. I feel like when I was younger and I was kind of jumping in and out and in and out and in and out, I didn't know what I wanted, I didn't know what I liked, I didn't know what I was acceptable. I never had a mentor or anyone to tell me, you know, don't do this, or boys are that, or, you know, boys only want this. Like, no one's ever told me that. Anything I've ever learned has been through any of my friends and their parents. Or, I want to move this mic so you can get more of me and less of the painting scribbles. Anything I've ever learned about relationships has just been what I've learned through my own experiences, what my friends' parents have told me. So I kind of went into dating, I guess, pretty blindly. I didn't know what was acceptable. I was mistreated a lot because my standards were so low. I mean, if you had a car, if you were fine, you get what I mean? Like if you looked good, I was very, not even, that's a lie, because I dated a lot of people not based off of looks. So I don't want to even say that. But I will say, like I said, my standards were really low. You could call me, not that you could call me all types of names, but I would be a lot more forgiving because my self-esteem was so low. I was just accepting anything from anyone. And I think being single and helping me, like, single and letting me, you know, look back at what was going on and how I was letting other people treat me, that I think is what gave me more appreciation for actually being single so long. I really grew in those years, and now I know exactly what it is I'm looking for. Like if you come at me just off some boy shit, like it's not gonna fly. It's just not gonna fly. I don't care anymore. I don't even care to be rude anymore, to just be, I think a lot of it was confrontation. I didn't want to be rude. I'm like, oh no, I can't tell a man this because then he'll never want me again. He'll move on to someone else. You know, gotta be desirable, gotta do what they say. You know, if it's not you, then he'll move on. And it's like, bitch, move the fuck on to somebody else then, because I'm not gonna pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm not gonna let you mistreat me because I'm scared that you might move on. That I don't give a anymore. And so I think being single for so long really gave me that power to just be like, yo, I've been living, I've been thriving and surviving on my own. Why would I let some waste man come into my life and fuck all this shit up? Why would I do that? I'm not gonna do that. Whereas 5 years ago, I would have looked at all the red flags of a fuckboy waste man, and I would have been like, oh, it's all right. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe I can fix him. All he needs is me. Oh, I'll make him better. You can't fix anyone. You can't make anyone anything that they don't want to be themselves. So if a fuckboy wants to be a fuckboy, let him. That's part of his journey. That's part of his fuckboy journey. And I pray to God that he has daughters and that he learns exactly what the fuck he did and how he went wrong. But it's part of everyone's journey, you know? Not to say that I didn't do some shit. I've done a lot of I've based a lot of my life on the that I've done. And I'm starting to realize that, you know what? People do fucked up things, but it doesn't absolutely make them fucked up people. You could be a good person, do fucked up things. And you could be a bad person, do good things, and do fucked up things. What I'm getting at is that I just feel like I'm happy. I don't know. I didn't wake up feeling happy. I woke up feeling like fucking shit. But the more I paint, see, this is what makes me happy. It's like, this is what helps me to express myself and my feelings if I don't want to use words. You know, sometimes I don't want to use words. Sometimes I just want you to know without me saying anything. So right now, because I used the turpentine, it was very, very easy for me just to get a really nice rough base layer on this painting. Also, it's gonna help it to dry a lot faster. So I just wanna make it nice and smooth. So I have a nice, smooth, even base. And then I'm gonna go in with some more red. And I'm just gonna take the same shade straight from the tube. This is what I like to do. My professor would probably kill me if he knew that I was using paint straight out of the tube. But I like to do paint straight out of the tube and then kind of mix as I'm on the canvas. So I'm just kind of making sure that everything looks nice and even. This is my favorite shade to paint with. Red Cadmium Deep Hue. I love it because it's so red. It looks like blood. It's angry, it's vibrant, it's vivid. It says everything that I want to say without having to say anything. So I love this color. The worst part about this, though, is that I'm gonna have to do this in sessions, so you guys aren't gonna be able to really see the end quality unless you guys keep watching, I guess, the series, right? I'm gonna make this a series. So anyway, I'm just adding some more red. I wanna make it a little deeper in some of these areas. So I'm gonna take most of the red just in the center here. So that way when I start building my figures, I'm gonna have a lot of depth here. And I don't really care how perfect this looks. Like I said, this is very therapeutic. This is very meditative for me. So I'm not exactly going for perfection here. And I think that's what helps me to keep doing it. If I get so stuck on painting and making sure that it looks perfect and that I look like the perfect artist, I'll never do it, because the intimidation of painting a thing is fucking difficult, okay? So I kind of, I make it in my head. I'm like, okay, well this is not that serious, just do it, it's fun. And then in doing that, I always get something completely unexpected that I love. So I don't take it too seriously. I kind of just go at it, and you just never really know what you're gonna come up with by just going and doing it. So anyway, let's go back to boys. So let's see. I guess we can talk about what I learned from my last relationship, because it's one of those things where I try really hard not to think about, because it was such a, what do I want to call it? I kind of just want to get into the moral of it, but it's hard to talk about the moral unless I get to the details. And I don't want to talk about the details because I want to give this person more power. I don't know. It's like I don't want to talk about it like it never existed, because then it makes me feel like it never fucking existed. It makes me feel better. So, I don't know. I see this, me talking about this now, it makes me feel like I'm giving this person power, and it fucking kills me. I'm recognizing the fact that some of you might want to hear this, or that maybe some of you can relate to this, so it's helpful. Okay. So in high school, one day we went to a football game, just a regular football game, and I saw this guy there. He was like behind us, and I told my friend, I was like, yo, look at this guy. I've never seen him before. Who's this guy, right? So anyway, I ended up talking to the guy and realizing that he actually goes to my school. He lived in the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I've never seen this person before a day in my life. We actually ended up at the same party once, and he saw me. I never saw him, and he told his friend, that girl, I'm gonna marry that girl one day. I was like, what the fuck? So it's weird how like the universe works, where like you're in contact or you're around the people that you're going to be around, but you don't even know it yet, if that even makes sense. Fast forward to high school, we would hang out all the time. Me and my best friend and him. Actually, it was like a trio. Like we were all best friends, you know, like we ended up working together. We ended up doing all types of things. So we were always together. And I ended up leaving. We ended up breaking up. It was fine. The relationship was fine or whatever. In high school, it was like whatever. And I ended up leaving once I graduated high school to go to Miami. Or was it Miami, or was it, no, it was Pennsylvania. I went to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania first. Yes, I went to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania first. So I ended up going to Pennsylvania, and while I'm at college, I get a message from my ex's best friend, and he tells me, he's like, hey, okay, I'm gonna give my ex a name. I'm gonna call him John. I'm gonna call him John, and I'm gonna call my ex-best friend Jan. So I get a message from his friend, and he's like, yeah, have you talked to John in a while? And I was like, no. What's up though? And he was like, well, I just want to let you know that John and Jan have been around or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. And it's interesting because you kind of see, not the signs, but you kind of see where it's like, y'all are hanging around too much. They were doing their thing, dilly-dallying. I didn't really care. I ended up moving on with my life. And then fast forward 4 years after that moment, I I saw a Facebook post from John and his grandfather, who he was very close with, I saw had passed away. So me being who I am, all dumb, I was like, oh, so sorry to hear, blah, 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 how are you doing? And that kind of started a rekindling, I guess, of sorts. He was like, yeah, come over and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, hey, sure, fine. There's no harm in that or whatever. And so I gave him my number, and I actually accidentally gave him the wrong phone number. See, this is the universe. I should have fucking just let it happen. So we ended up meeting up, and that first day that we ended up meeting up, he was like, I'm gonna make you, he was like, you're my girlfriend, you know that, right? And I should have just been like, but instead I was just like, okay, well, let's see how this happens. You know, like I was just like, all right, sure. I mean, a lot of what made me stop talking to him was just how unmotivated he was. I was always, I mean, from the beginning of my life, I've been always trying to do better, figure out, you know, how to get out of Delaware, how to, you know, how not to settle, how not to go with the flow and do what's expected of me and do what's normal and right, you know. I've never been that like normal girl, you know. So a lot of it was his lack of motivation. Like, that's just so fucking unattractive. I don't even care. I can understand like a depression where you're just not motivated because you're depressed. I completely understand that. I've had my days, weeks, months, years, okay? But this is a person who's either inherently depressed, like just fucking depressed for years, forever, like whole life depressed, or this is someone who has no motivation. And so I chalked it up as both. A little bit of both. Well, a lot of no motivation, a little bit of depression for sure. But I think the straw that really broke the camel's back was when his friend, see, it's always his friends. Fuck boy, John, you need to find new friends because your friends aren't your friends. So his boy was just like, you know, he called you his bitch, right? Because like, no, I'm just not the type of person to just be like, let a dude call me his bitch. Hey, yo, my bitch. Like, what? My bitch, like, what? Whose bitch? The fuck? So that broke the camel's back. The alcoholism, which alcoholism doesn't run in my family, but I have family members with alcohol habits that cause issues or is an issue. So I didn't like that. I still don't. If I know that a guy has alcohol issues, I know that I'm not the one that's gonna change that. I can't change you. If you're an alcoholic, that is your problem. That has nothing to do with me. I can't fix that, and I have to know that. So, and going with that, there were a lot of things, like I said, that kind of, okay, I think we're good with this one, because I have to let it dry before I even do anything else. So I have this one right now. I'm gonna let that dry. We're gonna move on to the other one. And if you remember, this one here only had one figure in the center. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of make some depth here. I'm actually gonna make this one, I wanna go with a deep blue. I do wanna go with the deep blue. Because I think blue is the color of sadness, meditation, alone, sorrow, all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this blue, use a blue. And before I do that, because I want to use the same brush, I'm just gonna dip back into my jar of turpentine, or I'm sorry, yeah, turpentine. And just to clean off some of that residual red. It's not that deep, doesn't have to be super, super clean. If anything, it's just gonna help me create more of a purple with the blue and the red. I might just gently do this. Okay, I don't know why I just did that, don't mind that. seeing that kind of thing and me just thinking, you know, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be with someone that's like that thinks those things, that has no motivation in their lives. Why am I even here? What the fuck am I even doing here? So I ended up leaving. And you know what happens when you leave someone that's crazy? It's that they stalk you. There was a point after I broke up with him that he would meet me at my house uninvited. I would be coming home from work, pull around the corner. Who's in my driveway? You know what Jaleesa did? Back the fuck up, get out the neighborhood, go to the mall, cool some steam off, get a mango freeze. He would try to message me on all types of different accounts and all types of different things. And then I got fed up and I left Delaware. I left Delaware and I ended up going to New Jersey because I was like, I've had enough. There's no reason that I can't even live in my home without my own mother inviting a sociopath inside. So I don't feel safe at all, ever. Never feel safe. So I ended up moving to New Jersey, where my aunt took me in and made me feel so much safer. And then to fast forward, moved to New Jersey, I took a Prussian blue. Prussian blue is what I'm taking. It's a nice cool toned blue. With this one, since I have a little bit of the turpentine still in the brush, it might help me to really disperse this blue a little bit more easily, as you can see. So it's not all thick. I really want to work this in. You can see in some areas where a higher concentration of the blue here will start looking really dark. So anyway, just blending that in. Maybe taking a little bit of some liquid. That relationship, all that to say, that relationship and the disrespect. There's a lot of disrespect going on in that relationship. But that relationship, the disrespect in that relationship made me realize, like, okay, this is not what I want. This is not going to continue anymore. And then after that relationship, fast forward to me living in LA and me thinking for some reason that I was going to come to LA and meet all of these hot guys. Okay, firstly, the only hot guys I've ever met in LA were gay. They're all gay, which is great. I love being a gay guy. But to date a gay guy, I'm sorry, it's not gonna work. So I've focused a lot of my time now living in LA since I really can't date. Now, I don't want to say I can't date, like I'm unable, but pickings are slim, my guy. Pickings are real slim here. So it's helped me to focus on my career. It's helped me to focus on my hobbies more, like painting that I wasn't doing when I lived back home, all these other things. But it also really primed me to really recognize my worth and recognize that I don't have to take that, especially after, you know, meeting and dating other people and realizing that, you know what, I don't have to be in toxic relationships. I am worth more than toxic relationships. And just because I am attracted to toxic men doesn't necessarily mean I'm a toxic person. It means that I'm making bad decisions that aren't beneficial to me. But I'm not a toxic person. And for the longest time, I thought for some reason, I was like, why do I only attract crazy fucking assholes? Is it because I'm a crazy fucking asshole? And for a long time, I thought I was, but no, I'm not. It's just that I didn't see a lot of value in myself. I didn't have any mentors or anyone to tell me, you know what, you're special. You are worth more. I didn't hear that in music. I didn't see that on TV. I didn't have any role models to look up to other than Oprah and Stedman to be like, you know what, that's a goal. No marriage, no kids. I like that. I like that. And at first I thought it was crazy to say. I thought it was just the worst thing to say. Like, you know, especially in a small town where everyone thinks that the life path of a woman is to maybe go get an education, perhaps, if probably, and and then get married and have kids. Like, that's the goal. And for me, that was never my goal. And I always thought it was just so crazy. I never told anyone that because I thought that people would just be like, why are you weird? But that is my goal. I don't want kids. I don't want kids. My ideal situation is to come into a relationship with a man that already has kids. And then, you know, they'll just be like my kids, but not my actual birth kids. Having children that's your whole life. And I want to be selfish. I want to only think about me. I want to make sure that I'm doing okay. And if I can't even get my mental state in a fantastic place, what is it that I'm going to teach my children? How not to love, how to be alone, how to be this, how to push people away. No, I don't want to teach anyone that. And that's all I have right now to teach, because I don't even know that that's what I'm teaching. Do you understand that? Like, growing up the way I did showed me that maybe you need to be more fulfilled within your own self before you can fulfill someone else's life, if that makes sense. And so yeah, no, I don't see myself wanting kids. I'm 27 years old. My opinion hasn't changed since I've been 15. Never wanted kids, still don't. And to be honest, I think all I'm really waiting for is just for someone to come along who knows how to treat someone that has manners, respect for women, for other people, for animals, for children. You know, that kind of basic human decency. That's what I'm waiting for. And like I said, it's slim pickings, my guy. And I go back and forth with this thing where, you know, how people are like, well, maybe you're not looking at the right person because you want him to look a certain way. And it's like, that's not true. Because I've never dated anyone just because of the way they looked. Okay, maybe one guy. I dated one guy because of the way he looked and realized that that's a big mistake. Big mistake. This is such a deep, dark blue. And I like it because I think when I start getting some of that quality here, where it's a lot deeper and darker, it almost gives me black. And I want to stay away from using black paint in my paintings because black is extremely hard to work with, for being honest. Once you put it down, it really just changes everything. It can turn things gray. Sometimes black is a little bit too harsh. So I really only use black for details. Or anywhere, like I just feel like I really, really need some of that nice depth. But I think we're going distribute some of that here. So quick contrast, I guess. So you can see what I'm gonna end up going with. Maybe I'll call it this tomorrow. No, okay. So anyway, I guess now that I've gotten these two done, I have to wait until next time of the series. But I want to finish talking about what is it I want to say? I want to say that if you're lonely, if you're single, if you're wondering why, sometimes it's part of your journey just to learn yourself. You have to learn all the things that you like, what you don't like, what you expect, what you will accept from other people. You have to really know the depths of yourself, and you have to feel loneliness sometimes in order to really understand who you are. Because if you're always filled with other people, how can you really be filled with yourself? How can you really know what it is that you love? How can you really know that you like a certain thing, and not because you're influenced by someone else, but because it's something you genuinely like? So I will say to those of you who have been single or are single and feeling it and hating it and not appreciating it, you should appreciate it. You should really live in it. You should feel it. You should cry. Cry a lot, you know? Cry a lot. And then once you're done crying, thank yourself for feeling it. Thank yourself for being in the moment. Thank yourself for being human, for existing. And write a list. Write a list of all the things that you want from a person. Write a list of all the things that you accept and that you expect and that you don't, and write a list of all the things that you don't want to see. And with that list in mind, I think it's really going to help you when you go out into the world to be like, to really recognize who is good for you, who is bad for you. If you know, if there are a bunch of red flags that you're not interested in, make sure that you see them. Don't ignore them. I think I ignored a lot of red flags from a guy that I was just recently kind of dating. And I knew something was off. And I was just like, well, it's okay. Everyone's a little off. But there were little things. And at the end of it, it all made sense, and I had to break that shit off because I'm just like, you know what? All of the red flags were priming me for this fucking moment, and thank God nothing bad ever happens because I should have listened. Listen to your gut, listen to your intuition, write a list, love yourself, enjoy yourself, have a hobby, take time, take care, and you're gonna find yourself at the end of it a much more whole, a happier person, and you're gonna love yourself and someone's gonna love you. So until next time, because there's really not a lot that I can do now that I put my base down. And this is such a dark base, but I think it's a dark painting and it's really priming for that. So if you guys like this and want to see more of this series and think that this is a thing, then let me know because I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep doing it because it's the first time I've laughed all day and I needed this. So let me know in the comments what you guys want me to talk about more. Add a topic, any topic. What do you want me to talk about? Sex, life, families, love, hate, universe, God. Whatever you guys want me to talk about, I can talk about it next time when this is all dried. So yeah, make sure that you're subscribed and that you have your notifications on so you don't miss videos. People are missing my videos and it frustrates me. And yeah, so until next time, guys, bye.
Look at all these pretty little strokes. Pretty little strokes. Look at all these pretty little strokes.